Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, feels like there's something missing in his creepy, demented black and orange life. One day, he wanders into a forest and falls through a magical door to the enchanted Christmas town. There, Jack discovers the joys of Christmas and decides to take over as Santa Claus. But the horrors of Halloween and the joys of Christmas don't exactly mesh as well as he hoped in the 1993 stop-motion classic, The Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
And I'm Mysia Pierce-Lewis.
And this is Filmgazm. Welcome to the Filmgazm podcast. Our anniversary spotlight continues with one of the most celebrated cult classics of all time, The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, just in time for Halloween. Mysia, you had specifically requested this film even before we added it to our anniversary lineup. So why do you love this movie?
It's just a classic. I remember being introduced to it by a cousin. And initially I was like, what is this odd, creepy stop motion thing? Thinking back on it, it kind of gives me Coraline vibes with the creepy mom, the other mom. And so when I was much younger and I saw this, it was creepy, but also very fun and colorful, dark, but uplifting. Like there was a cuteness to the creepiness.
Yeah.
And it just automatically after that became one of my favorites.
Funny you mentioned Coraline because it's got the same director.
Oh,
yeah.
Perfect.
Henry Selick would later go on and do Coraline. He specialized in stop motion, creepy kids movies. This has been one of mine since I was a kid. I had this on tape. This was one of my favorite films as a kid. It's been in my life since I was here. And I love it to death. It's such a fun movie. It's such a quirky, original, weird movie that is aged like wine. It still looks incredible.
Yeah.
It's got no sequel. Burton has been very protective of this. Disney has wanted to go back into this, and he's been like, "Don't you touch my baby," which has been awesome. And it just stands alone as a fantastic Christmas and Halloween movie. One of the few, maybe the only movie that kind of celebrates both holidays at once.
Yeah.
And that actually segues right into my question to you. Halloween or Christmas?
See, look, it's hard and I think there's a slight bias toward Halloween simply because I love the fall. Just the whole autumn season is my favorite season ever. The minute it hits September, I'm like, I can't wait. All the pumpkin stuff comes out, and I'm not a fan of pumpkin, but just seeing it is just so symbolic of that season. I don't eat that shit though. That's nasty. But but definitely
not even like pumpkin pie.
I'm a sweet potato kind of guy. First of all, I'll be honest. I just do chocolate, just straight legitimate chocolate.
Okay.
So I could do a chocolate pie. I'll do that. But yeah, it's just something about autumn, just the transition from summer into fall, where you feel that change, you feel that shift. And it's just fun. And then Halloween comes around, you get to dress up and do all this stuff, and it's creepy, but it can also be not creepy. You can make it kind of whatever. You can make it magical and fairy-like or whatever. Christmas, I like Christmas. I like that we get many days off. I like that there's a sense of, I don't know, family, just a coming togetherness, even if you kind of are by yourself or not really with a family, like a nuclear family unit. There's just something about the unity of it all. And then the transition to the next year. But I don't know, fall is special. So I default Halloween.
Okay. Interesting. And I like your thought process on that.
Yeah.
I lean more towards Christmas.
I am shocked.
But there's a reason for that. And that is Christmas time at my family's house is maybe my favorite thing on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
It is so fun and sweet-natured and full of tradition and just warm. Yeah. And, we have, there's the movie selection, films like Die Hard and Jingle All the Way and Scrooge and The Muppet Christmas Carol, these movies that I only ever watch during the month of December, so they're like time capsules almost.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a delight. And I love to give, so I love giving presents and whatnot. And but Halloween also, is the older I get, the less into Halloween I am. And I know I don't really know why. I guess like why am I dressing up? Like why am I doing any of this stuff now? I don't know. I love Halloween, like the movie, but the season is fun. It's nice in Texas. We don't really get a fall weather that
Yeah.
much, so I don't really get that. Um, but I don't know. Christmas is just it's still meaningful to me, and Halloween is starting to lose that.
That's fair. That's fair. Hmm.
Can't wait
Yeah,
for my friends to hear this and jump on my fucking ass for saying that.
that's what I was gonna say. Like, I was so shocked. I thought you'd be an avid Halloweener, but like I hear you on the Christmas thing though, because there is a warmth. I think maybe, well, I can get both sides, and I think I've been there with the Christmas traditions and things, the winter traditions, but I feel like I don't know, maybe since the pandemic, it's kind of shifted a lot of how we experience that. It has never been the same, in my opinion. Um, and Halloween also has never been the same because of like pandemic stuff. But there's something still about Halloween, even in 2020. I remember my friend and I, we dressed up as Cosmo and Wanda. And we did like a outdoor kind of Halloween thing. We saw like a Ratatouille and Remy costume thing, and it was really fun. I don't know, and we were adults, but there's something fun about it. I don't know, but I could see both sides. I can see that.
Well, the second I found out about trunk or treat, I was like, oh man, like we're not even doing trick or treating anymore. Now we're just going to a parking lot and walking around in a circle for 2 hours, then going home.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the
Uh,
bar crawls.
uh, yeah. I my mom is hosting a big Halloween party this year, so like a bunch of people are going, and it's like costume mandatory. So I do have a costume this year that I'm gonna
What
go as.
would it be?
I can't tell you here just in case my mom's listening because it's a surprise, but I'll tell you when we are off the mic.
Oh, I like secrets. Okay.
It's fun. I'm building it myself. It's a cool one. But so maybe this time the spirit will grab me and I'll be back in on Halloween. Oh, yeah. This movie always makes me warm for both holidays,
Yeah.
which is cool. And I have been watching like as many new as many horror movies that I have not seen as I can this month as like a personal challenge. And I've gotten through quite a few. I've watched some cool shit. Well, let's talk about The Nightmare Before Christmas. How does a movie like this come about? A movie like this could only be thought up by the king of weird himself, Tim Burton. This was his brainchild. He wrote a 3-page poem called The Nightmare Before Christmas while he was employed at Disney in the early 80s. He was an animator for Disney. He did a short film called Vincent in 1982 that's about a little boy who's kind of like Frankenstein-esque. He's like a little weird nerd kid who likes dark shit. His name's Vincent. I saw it once at a pre-show at Draft House and was like, yeah, this makes sense. This is Tim Burton. His plan was to turn this poem into a TV special narrated by Vincent Price. That was the plan for Nightmare Before Christmas, kind of like a Halloween Rudolph variety show with Vincent Price. He made concept art, storyboards, character models, the works. This was his thing. He was going to do this as soon as possible. And at that point, Burton brought in another Disney animator named Henry Selick. The two of them started to develop this together, and then Disney passed. They felt this was too weird for the Disney brand. They told him to stop. He didn't want to stop, so they fired his ass in 1984. And he then went to Warner Brothers, had a very lucrative relationship with them when he directed Beetlejuice in 1988 and Batman in 1989. So Disney was like, maybe we shouldn't have let that guy go. Yeah. I wonder what his career would have looked like if he hadn't been fired from Disney. I wonder if he'd just been like, all right, and he shelved Nightmare and went on to just do whatever they wanted him to do, and he was just another animator in Disney's animation department. Would he have risen above that?
he would have eventually left. There's no possible way, and he doesn't seem like the kind of person or the kind of artist, you know what I mean, to allow his ideas to be shelved. So I highly doubt that he and Disney even would have, gone the distance, because there would have definitely been some pushback.
That's true.
So
Any man who can do what he did to Planet of the Apes is not a man to shelve any idea ever.
yeah. Yeah.
And that was not a compliment.
Yeah.
Um, Burton never stopped thinking about The Nightmare Before Christmas. It was one of those ideas that just kept eating away at him. He kept wanting to do something with it, but then he would get hooked up with another project, and that would then consume his time. He learned in 1990 that Disney still owned the film rights to this, even though they never did anything with it, because Disney has a very interesting rule regarding intellectual property. So anything developed by any Disney employee becomes the intellectual property of the company if they come up with this while they're working at the company, even if it never gets past the idea on a piece of paper stage. If it was made by a Disney employee, it belongs to Disney.
Wow.
Yeah. Be careful where you come up with your ideas, folks.
Yeah, that's just evil. Like,
yeah, I'd expect nothing less. I'd be surprised if they didn't have this rule.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. Burton and Henry Selick decided to collaborate on the project as a full-length film, and this time Disney was a little bit more accommodating. Their chairman, Jeffrey Katzenberg, was intrigued by Burton's recent big screen success. Batman was a phenomenal hit for Warner Brothers, changed the landscape of superhero movies. Disney started thinking, maybe we can work with this guy. And Disney was in the midst of their amazing 90s run of animated films, meaning they could afford to experiment a little bit. They were doing just great. They had just done Aladdin. They were working on Pocahontas and The Lion King. So they were in a perfect spot to be like, well, if this fails, we still got all this other amazing shit that's going to do great.
That was their Renaissance era.
Oh, it's the best era of Disney ever had. Yeah, 1989 to 1999, amazing run, unparalleled. Burton was unable to direct this due to his commitment to Batman Returns. So Henry Selick took over as director. And this is where ownership of this movie kind of gets muddled, because people have associated this with Tim Burton more than any other movie Burton's ever made. Like, this is considered his highlight reel, but he had very little to do with the production of this movie. He came up with it, he gave it to Henry Selick, and then Selick made the movie. But people don't remember that.
And that sucks. Yeah. What if I was Selick and I'm like, I did all the stuff.
Oh, he's bitter. He's bitter. He has some stuff to say. Yeah. Burton did not want to be, he didn't want to be involved with the, quote, painstakingly slow process of stop motion. He was like, I want this to look great, but I don't want to do it. That's not a great leadership quote there, Tim. I want this movie to be amazing, and good luck with that. I'm going to bounce. Yeah. Burton decided to make the film a musical, collaborated on this aspect with his frequent composer, Danny Elfman. Elfman and Burton created a rough storyline and 2/3 of the film's songs. Elfman found writing Nightmare's 11 songs to be, quote, one of the easiest jobs I've ever had. I had a lot in common with Jack Skellington, which raises a lot of other questions, but we're not going to get into that. Yeah. This is quintessential Elfman. He's, I think, Selick, yeah, but I think Elfman above anybody is the reason this movie is so amazing. The music.
And honestly, if you Google him, he looks like Jack Skellington.
He does. Weird. He's a weird looking dude. Danny Elfman looks like the kind of guy who would write this music.
Weird.
Yeah. And it's, he's done some of my favorite scores of all time. This, Batman, Mars Attacks, like the guy's Spider-Man, that was his.
Which one?
The original, the Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. He's fantastic. Selick and his team of animators began production in 1991. It took them 2 years to make this.
Wow.
It was a crew of 120 workers using 20 sound stages, and each moving bit of the movie is one shot of a camera, one snapshot, which is then edited together to mimic motion. That's stop motion. The film is comprised of 109,440 individual frames.
Oh my God.
That's a 2-year project.
That's nauseating.
Yeah. That's like, if we're halfway through and you lose the first half, this thing ain't happening.
God.
Yeah. Unreal. And Burton was like, would pop in every few months and be like, how's it going? And Selick could be like, we're doing great. And he'd be like, awesome. See ya.
That's a good manager.
Oh, well, this is what Selick had to say about that. He said, quote, it's as though Burton laid the egg and I sat on it and hatched it. He wasn't involved in a hands-on way, but his hand is in it. It was my job to make it look like a Tim Burton film, which is not so different from my own films. I don't want to take away from Tim, but he was not in San Francisco when we made it. He came up 5 times over 2 years and spent no more than 8 or 10 days in total.
Wow.
God, hearing that, it's like, it pisses me off that I've thought, for most of my life that this was one of Tim Burton's movies. It really isn't.
Yeah, that's new for me too.
Yeah. And Disney didn't help because they wanted to capitalize on the Burton name, so they renamed it Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Wow.
Just to hurt Selick a little bit more. Unbelievable.
And he couldn't do anything about it.
He couldn't. He worked for Disney. When you work for Disney, you shut the fuck up and you toe the line.
Yeah, you're a slave. Yeah, okay, understood.
Yeah, Disney doesn't fuck around with their people. Like you play ball or they will find someone else.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been like that ever since Walt was running the show. Despite Disney's fears that the film would be too scary for kids or not impress their main demographic, the film was a decent success at the box office, grossing about $92 million on a budget of $24 million. More than that, the film's legacy has since taken on a life of its own, becoming the film most associated with Tim Burton's style and was merchandised to death. This thing is everywhere, has been for 30 years. I think it's the movie keeping Hot Topic alive.
Yeah.
It's crazy how this became so merchandisable. I would never have thought.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like kind of up there with Beetlejuice, you know what I mean? Like the thing the quintessential idea, picture, movie that coincides with Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's, the adults have Michael Myers, the kids have Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
That's cool. The Nightmare Before Christmas has an IMDb score of 7.9, Rotten Tomatoes score of 95%, audience score of 92%. Critics' consensus reads, The Nightmare Before Christmas is a stunningly original and visually delightful work of stop-motion animation. And I agree. Yes, it is.
Yep.
The film was nominated for a single Oscar at the 66th Academy Awards. Best Visual Effects up against Cliffhanger and Jurassic Park, the latter of which took home the gold. It is currently streaming on Disney+. I love Jurassic Park. I get that. But visual effects, this was the movie. Like, the whole damn thing is a visual effect. Like, how did this lose?
Yeah.
And more so, like, how is it not up for any music at all? Score, song, nothing.
Yeah, because these songs were amazing. I mean, this is the whole Halloween song is just like, hello. That could be the anthem for Halloween itself.
It kind of is in my house. Yeah. 100%. Yeah, that's insane. That was the year that Schindler's List dominated everything, and I have yet to see that movie because a 3.5-hour Holocaust drama is not a way I really want to spend a Sunday. I know it's going to be great, but holy shit, is it going to be sad?
Oh, but you'll watch a 3.5-hour Native American movie where they're getting slaughtered. That's great.
I'm not like choosing favorites here. It was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. All right.
I'm just pointing out the obvious. I don't know.
I went and saw Killers of the Flower Moon today, and it was amazing. And that movie is more about the investigation than it is about genocide.
Oh.
So big difference. Big difference.
It's the investigation of genocide, Connor. Come on.
All right. If they were playing Schindler's List, I would go see it. I feel like I would be more focused in a theater.
I'm just putting you in the hot seat.
I'm well aware, and now I have to take myself out of a very difficult. God damn it. Oh boy. Well, I know a great way to do that. Let's ignore it happened and continue on into the categories. Let's talk the movie itself. How where should we start here? Let's start with dialogue. What are some lines in The Nightmare Before Christmas that you just really love?
So that's the one where I think Jack finds like the Christmas land or Christmas world, whatever you call it. And it's like the musical, but he goes, there are children throwing snowballs instead of throwing heads, and they're busy building toys, and absolutely no one's dead. I love that.
I do.
Because it's like when you hear it, it's creepy as hell. But then you realize like it's normal to death and decay and using heads as soccer balls and stuff is like the norm for him.
Well, it made me wonder, like, there's just regular people living in Christmas Town enjoying it. Like, are there normal people like living in absolute terror in Halloween Town that we just don't see?
I mean, but that's the thing, like their horror is like normal. Like, it's not like torturous for them. Like torture is enjoyable for them.
That's true.
So
Well,
like and that's why it's a weird, like oxymoronic kind of thing that's going on. Cause it's like
so the
yeah,
people who live in Halloween Town who are dealing with these guys must just be like absolute masochists.
basically.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. One of my favorite lines is from it's a lyric from This Is Halloween. It's our first little brief intro to Oogie Boogie. I am the shadow on the moon at night, filling your dreams to the brim with fright. It's like the first time you see that, you're like, who the hell is that guy?
Mm-hmm.
What is that? I also love that Halloween matters so much to these guys that they are willing to let this like crazy gambler psycho they're all afraid of participate in the big song.
And then also there's something about that scene too that reminds me of those Halloween cookies, those little sugar cookies you get.
Yeah, yeah.
And with imprints, that's what it looks like. That made it fun.
That is fun. Yeah. I also love the opening narration where we first get to the trees. 'Twas a long time ago, longer now than it seems, in a place perhaps you've seen in your dreams. For the story you're about to be told began with the holiday worlds of old. Now you've probably wondered where holidays come from. If you haven't, I'd say it's time you begun. And then we go to Halloween Town. It's like, what a great way to just capture our attention and just intrigue us from the get-go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Any other lines you want to shout out?
I think that's the main one that comes to mind that I can think of.
I love the when they accidentally capture the Easter Bunny and he's just walking around and that one just zombie dude's like, bunny, and it scares the hell out of him. That always made me laugh. I love the mayor when he realizes Jack's not home and he starts panicking and he goes, Jack, I'm an elected official. I can't make decisions by myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that because his face changes. And so my grandma had, well, it's not my grandmother's necessarily, it was one of my aunts. And I guess in the 60s or something like that, 60s, 70s, they had the changing face doll. So it was a doll who had a little hat with a little poof on top, and you would turn the little poof and she would have 4 different facial expressions, like crying, laughing, sad, or angry or anger. And it was fascinating, but intensely creepy.
That sounds creepy. Hold on one sec. I have this. I've had this since I was a kid.
Oh my God.
And his face
and it moves. Oh my God.
His face turns around. It's a little plush of the mayor that I've had since I was a kid. Yeah, he's just that's a cool
But
thing.
imagine that, but 4 faces on a baby doll.
That's terrifying.
Yes.
I've never really thought about the logistics of Halloween Town having a king and a mayor.
Yeah. Because if it's just one town.
Yeah. I want to go there and declare myself the pumpkin admiral. And now I'm in charge of everything.
Oh my
God. Let's do performance. If you had to pick one vocal performance in this movie, who wins it?
I mean, I don't want to just say Jack, but Jack, I enjoyed Jack a lot. But also, I forget his name, but crazy dude that made Sally.
Oh, Dr. Finkelstein?
Yes.
Yeah.
Whoever that, yes, because that's a very memorable and a very unpleasant memorable performance.
Yeah.
So,
That was William Hickey, character actor who worked with Burton a few times. He was in Mouse Hunt. He was in Christmas Vacation. Uh,
mm.
yeah, he's very good at just this like creepy old scientist guy who made a weird hot zombie that he won't let leave his house. Yeah, you think about things differently when you're a kid versus an adult. Um, Jack is voiced by Chris Sarandon, uh, famous character actor. He was Prince Humperdinck in The Princess Bride. He was Jerry in Fright Night. He's awesome. And
Mhm.
his Jack's singing voice is Danny Elfman himself.
Wow.
So both those guys together made a very memorable, cool character. But for me, the winner of this movie is Ken Page as Oogie Boogie.
Yep.
I fucking love Oogie Boogie. He is such a neat character, such a cool take on the boogeyman, and
Yeah.
just this like built up through the whole movie to be this like terrifying evil force of nature. And then we meet him, and he's this like sleazy New Orleans gambling man. It's awesome.
Yeah. Is that your Halloween costume?
No, it's not, regrettably.
Oh gosh.
There's no real good way for like to do that costume in live action without raising some questions.
Well, don't do the behaviors. You just want to look like them. Like,
I'm it is a I'm doing I'll say this, I'm doing a classic monster.
that
He's not,
narrows it down.
he's not in this movie. Well, I'm not trying to narrow it down. This is I'm not trying to reveal what it is. He's not in this movie, or maybe he is. Um,
I don't like that. Next.
I think Catherine O'Hara is fantastic as Sally. Uh,
Yes. Yes.
she's just a very sad character who just wants to be included.
Yeah.
Um, Glenn Shaddix as the mayor always makes me laugh. Both sides, just this like happy mayor, sad mayor, hilarious. Um, yeah, for me, Ken Page wins. You're gonna go with Jack.
I mean, I think he pulls me in, you know?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
You know, he's a really reasonable guy for being the king of horror for the most part. Like even when he
Yeah.
captures Santa, he's not like, he's not angry about it or bitter. He's like, "Hey, how you doing? I got it. I got it this year. You're gonna like no
Yeah.
worries."
Right.
Like, I love that. I love that he's not like he could easily be the bad guy of this movie, but he's not.
Yeah.
Uh, let's go to music. Probably the most interesting one we've got here. What is your favorite song from The Nightmare Before Christmas?
I mean, like the opening that this is Halloween, you know? I mean, it's classic on so many levels. I think earlier we had said it feels like it is the Halloween, like actual Halloween theme song. It's definitely one of those you play on the track at a Halloween party or something. And I don't know, it's funny because every time I hear Halloween Town, I think about like actual Halloween Town, like the movie. So there's always like a crossover with it for me, and that's also another nostalgic movie. And
Oh,
then it
okay.
makes me think of Hocus Pocus. So like it's just this domino effect of all these movies. And so that's why I feel like it resonates with me.
I tried to watch Halloween Town again last year, and it is so bad.
What, the first one? Now the others suck.
It's
All the spin-offs, so like there are four of them, right? Or something. They suck.
there's four. Yeah,
Those are
I
terrible. The first one?
it's Disney Channel original movie, and I'm 28. It's not going to be what I remember.
That's true. That's true.
But I'm going to give it another shot this year. I liked the first two. I remember I had like the double feature DVD, and I thought the first two were good. But
Mhm.
when I was like 10, so
Oh.
it's worth revisiting. But yeah, Halloween Town.
Those others suck though, dude. Like
I
I
never.
don't know where they were going with it. It was like New Generation. It had like werewolves. And I was like, come on now. This is too much. It's too much.
I think they should do like a big screen remake
Of
just
what?
of Halloween Town.
Oh.
Like, go for it. Give the film a budget, make it a little more, a little more really scary. I think they could do something with that.
Hmm. Who would play the grandma?
Oh, well, Debbie Reynolds is dead, so not her.
Oh wait.
I don't know. That would have to be a discussion for. I don't know.
We'll figure that out later.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Catherine O'Hara, maybe.
Mm, that's right.
Could be
Or
interesting.
what's that woman's name? Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good pick. Um, yeah, This Is Halloween is my favorite song as well. It's just such a great intro to the movie, just from like, the Pumpkin King swaying in the breeze. Like, it's so cool. And I love that their Halloween is just like rehearsing a new song every year.
Yeah,
Like,
like a play.
yeah. It introduces you to all of our major players. Jack's intro is just perfect at the end of that thing. Um, Another one I really like is Jack's lament when he's in the field, just kind of thinking about like, why am I unhappy? I love that song. It's relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like how the message of this movie is like, stay in your lane. Like, know your limitations.
Yeah, but it's also like I think it also highlights this desire of something new to get out of that rut and that routine.
Mm-hmm.
But then also like I don't know, maybe that's the coming of age aspect of it is like, sure, you may want to get out of the rut, but how do you do that where it works with what you bring to the table? Because Jack dropping down little demon things in people's chimneys, that ain't it. That's not Christmas. Like, so it kind of that's sacrilegious in a way. So it's like, cool, you can get out of this rut, but how do you do it so that it works with what you have going on with your skill set, and then it doesn't like contradict what somebody else may be into? It's an interesting thing. It's like balance, finding balance.
Yeah, pretty much. That is, Jack. He's good at Halloween, but now he's going to celebrate Christmas, but quietly in his own home and not by terrorizing an entire town.
Yeah.
Uh, I love the boogie song. That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's not a bad song in the movie. They're all fantastic and quirky. I love Making Christmas. Just watching all these ghouls try to be Santa and his elves, just putting together Christmas presents. It's so weird. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then of course, the score in between the songs is just as good because it's Elfman and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Any other songs you like?
Mm, I'm trying to think because the Halloween one really dominates it for me. I like the boogie song a lot. I mean, that was really like engaging, and it also gives me like the Shadow Man vibes from Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, good shot.
So that's what I think there's a connection there for me, which makes so now looking like rewatching Nightmare Before Christmas and having that the Princess and the Frog in the back of my mind, I was like, oh snap, like it makes sense. So it's funny how they play on the hoodoo voodoo kind of aspect in these films, and especially like in Halloween.
Yeah. It's not outside the realm of possibility to think that like when, Shadow Man was dragged to hell, he became Oogie Boogie.
Actually, their hats look the same, the little pointy at the tip.
Yeah. Both gambling men. They both have a very particular aesthetic they enjoy scaring people with.
That's true.
That's a neat idea. There's a theory that like Jack Skellington is the guy from Corpse Bride.
Yeah, is he not?
I always assumed like Frankenweenie, Corpse Bride, and Nightmare were one story about a boy and his dog growing up and dying together.
Mm,
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool stuff. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Scene. What are some great scenes of this movie? I got to first shout out the military versus fake Santa.
Yeah.
I love that in this world, like a person impersonating Santa Claus is enough to literally get the army involved and start shooting mortars at this guy in the
Yeah.
sky.
But then Jack was like, they love me.
The ego on this guy.
That's a
He's
great
like,
idea.
yeah, he's just like, I did such a great job. See, they're shooting fireworks. And then he has a moment of like, wait a minute. That was a little close.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That's a good one.
that's hilarious.
I think I like that, like I said earlier, I like the scene before that when he's like you just see him jumping on the chimney, he's like boop. dropping him into the little holes, and the kids are screaming or the adults are screaming, the lights turn on, and like it's just terror. And I think the very first scene that we see are these two kids, right, that run down because they're like, oh my God, Santa Claus. And then this demon comes out of the starts chasing them in their room. Like it, yeah, I love that. And it kind of reminds me of like Grinch a little bit. Like Grinch wasn't leaving demons behind, but he was pretty aggressive with his deliveries.
Yeah, he was just
That.
taking shit. Yeah, he was. He
Yeah.
was. It was many home invasions. That was the Grinch.
Yes.
My favorite bit of that segment is the one kid just freaking out at the giant fucking snake eating his tree.
Yeah.
You imagine you come down, like you're like 8 years old, you come down to the Christmas tree and there is a giant snake devouring the tree.
And I like the scene. I think it's after that. It's the fat kid trying to run away from the little Jack in the Box thing. And I was like, why they do that? That's pretty.
I love that kid, like Santa just gives him a big candy cane. I love that first kid who's just like comes down the stairs like Santa, and then he sees a skeleton with a beard, and he's just like kind of shocked. And Jack's like, "What's your name?" And the kid says nothing. He's like, "That's okay."
We call that trauma.
Gives him a fucking shrunken head.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the Christmas part is so perfect. He's so happy. He's so excited to be doing this. He does not realize he's ruining a lot of lives.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, good stuff. I love the finale where Jack finally confronts Oogie and destroys him in a very vicious, gross way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was a Disney movie for children, and this is a guy who gets what's essentially his skin ripped open to reveal that he's made of bugs, which are then all like melted except for the one Santa crushed with his boot.
Yeah.
Boy. Good stuff. What are some other great scenes that you like?
I think the scene that you mentioned before too, where the mayor was like, "Where's Jack?" And he's free, but his freak out was immediate because initially he's like, "Okay, cool, like where is he? Looking for him," and then within like 0.2 seconds, he's like, "I can't find him. The world is ending. Like, I need him." But the codependency is real.
Yeah. I love when Jack's assigning everybody Christmas jobs and they all just do not get it. I love this super depressing band trying to do Jingle Bells.
Oh my God. Or like the two little minion kids, right? They're like, we're gonna steal Santa Claus for you. And then we're gonna hurt him.
Why would Jack knows how fucked up these kids are and that they work for Oogie Boogie? Why would he give them that job?
His naivete,
Yeah, he was too excited. I love when Sally's trying to tell him, like, this is a bad idea. This is not gonna work. And he's like, no, it's gonna be fine. You're gonna do a great job making this costume. Like, he's just so blind to the warning bells coming off of everybody else.
Yeah.
Or when Jack's like introducing them to Christmas and they're all like, oh, this is cool. Does it hurt people?
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Hilarious. Yeah, it's a great movie from start to finish. There's like so much to shout here. We're obviously gonna miss some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's really seamless. Like, so I'm really glad because of that there aren't any sequels or any prequels for that matter, because a lot of people like to do the what's the story before? And I'm glad it is what it is, and that's what makes it, I think, such a classic, because it has a start and an end.
Yeah. Disney has approached Selick about doing a prequel about how Jack became the Pumpkin King.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. He said he kind of wants to do it.
Oh God.
But Tim Burton's over here Tim Burton's gonna be like, no.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask, like, maybe this will be his little, like, maybe I'm getting back at Burton for this to do the prequel.
The only thing that's kept really this from going, like, from being another movie is Disney really wants to use traditional animation. Like, they want to 3D this up, and Selick and Burton both think, no, the stop motion is what makes this so iconic, and I agree.
What is I don't know anything about this. Is stop motion like more expensive? Is that why they're like, yeah, don't do this, do the 3D thing? Or
Stop
like,
motion is insanely time consuming because you have to move every like you have to move every single
right,
frame, and it takes obviously like 2 years to do
right.
for
But
this.
I'm
I mean,
just curious to know why they don't want why they would push for the 3D if they know that the stop motion was like part of what made it the movie it is.
well, Disney around 2009, The Princess and the Frog was the last 2D animation movie they ever made.
I remember that.
And ever since, 3D animation is, I think, it's not as time consuming. You don't have to hand draw anything. You can make it all on the computer. And also, a lot of them have been like $1 billion successes. So Disney just sees that as like, this is what people want to see. So do it that way.
Disney sucks.
They do. They really do. Ever since I heard about them suing a grieving father for putting Spider-Man on the kid's tombstone, that's when I was like, Disney sucks.
Why would they do that?
Because that's trademark infringement.
After all these things that they stolen.
Oh, yeah. Disney
All right.
sued a daycare out of existence because they drew Mickey Mouse on the wall. Like, they suck. They are terrible. And they have a fleet of lawyers who like are very quick to destroy anybody who dares fuck with their trademarks.
Oh my God. But they already like bought up most other animation studios or like any other film like related stuff like Marvel, they own that now. They have rights to damn near everything. So like what it's so
They,
God capitalism. Ugh.
off the top of my head, they own Marvel Studios. They own Lucasfilm, so that's Star Wars. They own 20th Century Fox and all of their assets. They own Pixar. They own the Muppets. They own Hulu.
ESPN. ESPN.
They have ESPN. They have their only real competition is Warner Brothers, Apple, and Netflix and Amazon.
Wow.
So, and I've heard they're making Warner Brothers is about to break up, and like Universal is probably going to buy them. So it's going to turn into basically like one or two big movie studios out there. It's going to be a monopoly straight up.
I mean, it's basically that way now. That's
True,
so sad.
but at least now there's some competition.
Yeah.
It's wild. But we've been noticing trends of blockbuster films just not being as successful as they have been in the past. A lot of stuff's just bombing because franchise IP is not reliable anymore. Stuff like, original stuff like Barbie is being hugely successful because people with a vision are making something they care about.
Yeah.
So,
and I think, I don't know if we talked about this in another episode I did with you at some point, but especially with the superhero Marvel whatever franchises and stuff, it is so unoriginal. And I get maybe people are invested because like comic books and things like that, like superheroes go back a long time ago, so people have an allegiance or some deeper interest in it, which keeps them coming back. But it's just like a copy paste kind of formula, and it's boring. It's low-key predictable. It doesn't do anything different for the imagination, the storyline. It's just making a whole bunch of parallel universes to keep the shit going, and it's kind of exhausting. And then they're doing a whole bunch of reboots and like bringing back stuff like they did the Haunted Mansion. I don't want to watch this shit. Eddie Murphy made it and it was great. Leave it alone. Like, stop. Make something new. Make something new and original, and then maybe you'll get new cult followings. I don't understand. I'm not getting it.
well, basically, studios are lazy and they often think like, oh, it worked once, it'll work again. And very rarely is that the case. And
I mean, but Disney especially should learn from their mistakes because they have a history of doing that. They have a history of like doing very well, getting original shit, and then being like, cool, this is the formula. And then when they realize like, oh snap, we can't keep up with the formula because no one's engaged anymore, then they have to like scramble to make something happen. Or that's where we get these franchises until they figure something out in the meantime. And I'm just like, oh, I hate it.
Disney should know better, but the unfortunate fact is the remakes of Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and The Lion King were all huge billion-dollar successes. So that showed Disney that they can do that to all of their movies, and most of them are going to hit. And they kind of have. They're not great movies, but they are successful movies.
It's so unfortunate. And they rely on what's it called? There's a specific term for it, but it's basically like the nostalgic factor.
Nostalgia bias. That's the word.
Yes. So they like purposefully target a lot of the people who grew up for that 90s Renaissance era or 80s, 90s Renaissance era. They're like, cool, if we know that these people were inundated with this around that period of time, there's some call to it. There's some the soft heartness to it. So cool, we'll get them enraptured again by doing a live action version and then get the new generation, their kids, hooked on it so then we can keep it going. That's all they're really doing. And it kind of sucks because I'm like, damn, make something new though.
It does suck, but at the same time, I have fallen for it so many times. The trailer, because it does hit you in the heart.
The Lion King, Connor. The Lion King.
I love the
with
Lion
Beyonce.
King. Not that one, the original one.
Okay. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
But when I saw the trailer for The Lion King, I heard fucking Circle of Life and I got like, oh my God. And I started feeling like a child again. And I was like, I have to see that. I did the same thing with The Jungle Book. I did the same thing with Beauty and the Beast. It's real. I don't know how they do it, but it is real. And I go and see the movie. I might not like the movie, but I am going to go and see it. I tell you, when they do the inevitable Hercules and the Hunchback of Notre Dame remake, I will fucking be there.
I might go see those. But I feel like, but the other ones, I'm telling you, like, I maybe I'm a purist a little bit because when I saw that Lion King, that live action bullshit, the minute I saw the trailer, I was like, absolutely fucking not. That's going to be straight basura. I'm not going to watch that or waste any of my money. I don't even care if it gets on streaming. I ain't watching that shit. And most of the people who went to go see it were like, it's a waste of money. All you saw were these weird animated, or like 3D weird animated lions that are clearly fake. And you hear Beyonce talking from one of them. Come on.
Yeah, that's an apt description of the movie. It was terrible.
What is this? It's like, oh, Beyonce?
Yeah.
You a wildcat? Like, no, I don't.
It sucked.
And I heard The Jungle Book sucked.
The Jungle Book was good. I will go to bat for The Jungle Book. That was a really good movie.
I guess.
They added more story into it. The characters made sense this time. Like Shere Khan had a plan. Like why he was a villain actually made sense this time. Like I don't remember what it was. I haven't seen the movie in a few years, but I remember I really liked it.
Okay.
I still haven't seen a few. Like I never saw the Peter Pan remake they did or Lady in the Tramp.
They've done several of them. My God, give it a break.
Yeah. What do they have on the pipeline? The Little Mermaid had just happened. That was not bad.
Oh, okay.
I didn't like Javier Bardem as King Triton sounded great on paper, but he didn't give a shit. He was sleepwalking through the whole damn thing. He was barely there. It was Melissa McCarthy and Halle Bailey who saved that thing.
Yeah. I mean, I will say Maleficent was good, but that was more like following Maleficent, the villain.
Yeah. That's how I felt about Cruella. I thought that was a neat idea. I thought it was weird to like try to make this character like a girl power Joker. Like we don't hate her because she's skinning puppies. Like that's why we hated Cruella de Vil. There was no other reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know what they have coming up next. Mulan was awful.
Oh, okay. Can we talk about that for like 2 minutes? Because that pissed me off. I don't know why, because I love Mulan.
Me too.
And I was like, cool, like I saw the trailers and it sucks ass to me, but like, let me just give it a try. Let me give it a try. I wait till it was on streaming, right? I'm watching it on streaming. And then, that Phoenix, because I was like, I already knew they weren't going to have Mushu. The Mushu and the cricket. And I was like, oh, they already messed up by not having these things because like it was a quintessential element of Disney princesses to have a little sidekick, have a little familiar, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so to eliminate that eliminates so much backstory and sub story too. So I'm like, okay, how are they going to do this? Watching it and I see the Phoenix thing. So I was like, cool, Phoenix, whatever. And it popped up like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie, right? So I was like, oh, okay, great. So at the end, it's going to be like a rising symbol of how she overcame. The bitch never showed up ever again. Excuse my language, but it angered me so much. This Phoenix, every time she was in like a dire situation, right? Looking for hope, she would look to the sky and it's the Phoenix. And it was this whole bullshit story about the Phoenix. And then the Phoenix disappeared, never to be mentioned again. Why did you do that? What was the purpose?
I don't
It
know.
made me so mad.
What pissed me off the most about Mulan was the fact that they gave her superpowers. They made her like
Yeah,
some
that was
ancient prophecy warrior. The whole point of Mulan was that if you just care about something, you can do great things. If you believe in yourself, you can save somebody. This
yeah,
is if you believe in yourself and you have powers, then you can do it. Otherwise, don't fucking bother.
yeah,
I didn't like that at all. That was
yeah.
no. Mm-mm.
It gave me very Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior vibes with that. That's
That is
what it made me.
that is the second podcast in a row that movie has come up.
Really? Oh, I
Yeah,
don't know why.
I
But
don't.
that's what it reminds me of.
That is weird.
I guess you need to talk about it next time.
I guess I gotta fucking watch that. Um,
I think that's a sequel.
I don't. I don't know. That's one of those Disney Channel original movies.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think they're doing. I remember Hercules was announced, but I don't think it's moved forward. Uh,
The thing is, I would love to see a Hercules one. I think we probably talked about this too. I just don't want it to be like a Disney version of like 3000, you know what I mean? Like Sparta kind of thing. And they're just
300.
doing the whole like Roman-esque, Greek-esque warrior thing again. If they just literally copy that but make it Disney appropriate, that sucks. So I really hope they put a deeper level of like creativity into it because there's so many elements that can make it really, really good.
Well, I'll tell you this: if the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series that premieres in December is a big hit, we are going to get a super for kids Hercules live action movie within a year.
Yeah. Well, I just hope it.
Trends. That's how it works. And I really want to see Percy Jackson. I was a huge fan of those books. I'm looking forward to that show.
Yeah. You know what they need to turn into a movie?
Hmm.
The Magic Tree House.
Surprised that hasn't happened. That was a huge successful book series.
And there are so many, you can even do like 3 different places in that thing because they always have to go to the treehouse to transport. If someone does that, not Disney, but if someone else does it, that would be great.
That would be great. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, at this point, anything's up for grabs. And Disney
Yeah.
needs a win. They have failed at every movie they've released this year. Like
What movies have they released this year?
Haunted Mansion tanked, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny tanked,
Because who
Ant-Man
wants
and the
that?
Wasp 3 tanked.
Yikes.
Like Little Mermaid made a decent amount of money, but not nearly as much as they wanted. Same with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. The Marvels is expected to bomb. It's been nothing but really bad fuck ups for Disney the whole year.
Yeah.
So
And I wonder why. When you're on your 15th one, you need to let it go.
yeah, or at least put some goddamn effort into it. Like, give
Yeah.
me a reason to want to go see it. Give me a reason to care.
Yeah.
Because there are movies, like for example, the recent Saw movie, Saw 10. It's the 10th film in a franchise about torture. This should suck. It was critically acclaimed. It was a huge box office success. Fans loved it because they cared, because the story mattered.
Mm.
And I loved it. I thought that was fantastic. One of my favorite films of the year.
Wow.
Yeah. So all it takes is a little love. I know I say that a lot on this show, but the Beatles were right. All you need is love.
Oh God, don't get started on them. You know how I feel about the Beatles.
Well,
Anyway,
I feel differently.
clearly. That's fine. We'll move on. We'll agree to disagree right there.
Fair enough. With that, let's take a look at what Letterboxd has to say on our final segment, What's in the Box.
What's in the fucking box? Give me the gun.
The Nightmare Before Christmas, 3.9 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything above a 3 is pretty much like just fantastic. Near 4 is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's 5 out of 5 for me, obviously. I have 2 negative reviews and 2 positive reviews. This first one is just like so like, why are you like this? It's from Woody 310397. I would rather dip my testicles in hot oil for the 76-minute runtime than watch this movie ever again. Half a star.
What? That's psychotic.
Yeah, who hurt you, Woody? God damn.
Actually, he fits perfectly into Halloween.
I don't.
Town? Perfect.
next to like the clown with the tearaway face and like the guy under the stairs, I don't want like boiling your testicles guy. I don't want him just hanging out in the park with the rest of these guys.
That's fair.
How do you fit him into the song?
I don't know. Self-mutilation.
I am the guy with my balls on fire. Just no. This next one's from Liam F. All those in favor of changing the title from Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas to Danny Elfman's The Nightmare Before Christmas, say aye. 4 stars. Aye.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. He did more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tim Burton just, ordered it and checked on it every couple of years.
Not even like 5 times in 2 years or something like that.
Just like if he was in the area, it wasn't even like a specific. I bet he never went there for that. He was like gonna be in LA for like, to pitch Ed Wood. He's like, and I guess I can check on Selick.
Wow.
This one's from Luke Webb. Nice work, Bone Daddy. Gets me every time. 4.5 stars.
Oh my God.
Forgot about that line. That's cute.
Yeah.
And this last one's from Quentin. There are portals into different holidays, and Jack Skellington went to the Christmas holiday to learn the Christmas spirit. Imagine if we ended up going to different portals. I think we could have had some great storylines. The Nightmare Before St. Patty's. Jack visits the leprechauns as he steals their pot of gold and brings it back to Halloween Town, resulting in a World War III between the town and the leprechauns.
Oh my God.
I would watch that. The Nightmare Before Valentine's. Jack visits the Cupids and learns all about chocolate and sex. The Bone Daddy then brings these tricks to Halloween Town and is known as a sex lord.
Wow. That's going into like BDSM territory. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't.
That's not for me.
Bone Daddy, though, he's already got the nickname.
I mean, I guess.
The Nightmare Before Thanksgiving. Jack visits the Pilgrims as he learns the magic of a Thanksgiving meal and watches their family fight the whole time.
Oh, I see. I thought that was, you see, look, you said Pilgrims. I was thinking Massacre after that, but okay.
Oh.
That works too.
Well, I mean, you can't exactly show genocide in a kid's movie often.
I didn't like that often. Movies usually have it, huh?
Some kids' movie, I'm pretty sure, like, I mean, there was Pocahontas, but that was more like, why can't we all just get along? And they were like, yeah, you know what? Okay.
And they made her a consenting adult when she was for sure a child.
Oh, yeah. We did a whole Fake True Stories episode on Pocahontas where we ripped that movie apart, and that was cathartic. Someone needed to do it. That movie's been getting away with too much for too long.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's been done. It's definitely been done at some point. But I want to see Jack visit some holidays. Like, I want to see, like, what would he do in Easterland? And here's the question.
Like the egg would hatch demons.
Is St. Patrick Land, is that just Ireland?
Oh, no way. Actually, like, maybe.
Yeah, would he just go through and end up in, like, fucking Dublin?
Yeah.
Just walking around, they're like, oh, what are you doing there, Bone Man? Like, just would they be like, oh, that's cool? Would they think he was some like drunk hallucination?
Actually, they might.
You imagine if you were the kid in Christmas Town where Jack kind of like lays on him briefly, and he woke up at that moment, and there's an 8-foot tall skeleton man holding his head tenderly.
I would be paralyzed with fear. Like, I would probably die.
Yeah, I don't know how I would handle that. That's an interesting situation to be in. Oh, that's The Nightmare Before Christmas. Happy 30th. This was really fun.
Yay. 30 years. That's crazy.
Right? Yeah. This was a blast. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you like the show, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Filmgazm Productions. If you want to suggest films for us to check out, you can email us at filmgazm@gmail.com. or send us a message through the socials. Check out our Letterboxd accounts for daily reviews. You search for me at Connor95, and in my friends list, you can find the rest of the team. Check out the website, filmgazm.com, where I have a link to that letterbox. You can also find articles, trailers of upcoming films, and every episode of our show. If you'd like to become a monthly donor to Filmgazm Productions, click on the link in the episode description. From there, click on Support This Podcast. You can choose to donate $1 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month, and all donations go right back into the show. Thanks to the entire Filmgazm team for their contributions. Thanks to Cooley Cow for our awesome theme music. Thanks to you for checking it out. Next week, we drift away from Halloween horror and into serious gangster territory to celebrate the vicious 1983 cult classic Scarface. Cuban immigrant Tony Montana arrives at the United States and quickly rises to power in Miami as a crime boss, but a lucrative deal with a drug lord and his constant instability threaten to tear him down. Scarface is celebrating its 40th this year, and we're excited to tackle it. It has been way too long since I watched Scarface.
Yeah.
I am pumped. In the meantime, take it easy. Keep watching movies, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.